Hello, good morning to my crafty companions. Welcome to my very first, got crafter's nails already, my very first tutorial. I've been asked so many times on some of the techniques I use in making my journals, so I'm now showing you some of those techniques that I use. So I'm currently working on a series of books called Gardens of Enchantment. So I'm going to transform this little vintage book. Oh, I learned to read from a book like this. I'm sure they're Peter and Janet. I can remember these at primary school. So I am going to convert this book into a lovely journal, and I'm going to do a series of recordings to show you how to do that too. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to convert this piece of cotton fabric into one of these, into these lovely pieces of hand-dyed cottons. This side we get the dots in pink, this side we get the dots in white, so it will be up to you which side you used. The same with the green. I love this green, beautiful moss green, just the colour that I wanted. The white doesn't show up as good on this one as it does on this one. However, this is the side that I wanted anyway. So what I did, I took a bowl of water, here we go, and I looked through all my dyes and things to get the exact colour that I wanted. I wanted a moss green. So after searching frantically through, I found this Ranger alcohol ink moss green. So I got some warm water out of the tap into this bowl, and I put the alcohol ink in to get the colour that I wanted. And then I popped in some tacky glue, PVA glue, about a teaspoon of that. So I've probably had about 100 mils, 150 mils of water and a teaspoon of tacky glue. Whatever's left over I'll use afterwards for dyeing laces or some more fabrics. So I then cut a piece of, tore a piece of the cotton into the size that I needed and put it into the water, and because it's only tepid, it's not too hot to handle, and I put that in, give it a good squish around until it was all covered, no cream bits showing. You can put gloves on for this part, but I always forget, I can't work well with gloves. And what, a little bit of dye on my fingers isn't the end of the world. Squeeze it out, good wring out. Just check that through for no particularly obvious white bits. And then I get sort those bits up off the table too while I'm at it. Then I use a good old pizza tray. I put my fabric on there. It doesn't matter if it goes over the edges, so it doesn't matter to me. It might matter to you, but not to me. The glue just gives it that sort of, adds that stiffness to your fabric. So instead of being sort of floppy, like this, gives it quite a stiffness. Right, so put that on there, and then I put my gas oven. I've always used gas. That's what I was taught at school. That's what I've always used. So I put it into like gas mark 1 for about 15 minutes. When it comes out, the bottom side will have the dark spots on like this, and the top side will have, well, if you're using this pink, the whiter spots. So there we go, that's the Ranger alcohol ink, and I pop that into the oven. For my pink, this was my pink, shocking pink. I once bought a box of these little inks from Hobby Lobby, I believe it is in the USA, but Hobbycraft here in the UK, and not very good at all to use for inking. I didn't think so. So what I do with those is I do the same technique for dyeing fabrics, put some tepid water in, draw that in for a couple of minutes, whatever, to get the desired colour. A little bit of PVA glue, put my fabric in, and that is how I came up with this pink. These you buy in a box of about 30, 40. So the good thing about them, there's so many different colours, so you can achieve so many different dyes for your fabric and for your paper too. Right, so I'm just going to sit down now. Let's get going. So here we are, back to out in the sun. So as you can see, I've already taken out the middle pages because I use them for something else. But this is little Ladybird book, measures, here's where we got 4.5 inches, just over, by 7 inches, which is good because I get all mixed up with the 16ths and whatever of an inch because I don't use inches. I started learning inches at school, but then we changed to centimetres. So 11.5 centimetres by just short of 18 centimetres. So a nice little size to work with. So then you need your blade because I need to make this book bigger, because let's face it, that is not thick enough for a journal. So I take my blade and I carefully cut out, let's go down again, it doesn't want to come out, it doesn't want to come out. Okay, we'll not use the blade, we will use, it's cut partially through, so I'll just finish it, there we go, see, with the scissors. I'm just going to cut this bit off with the scissors as well, because there's a nice line for me to follow there. There we go. That little bit out in the sun, I'll keep that because I'll probably use that somewhere along the lines. I keep everything the good traditional way that all of us crafters do. Everything is kept. So then out of this very thick, sorry for my arm there, this very thick card, which I believe is called chipboard in America. This confused me for months because chipboard to me is a form of wood, composed of pieces of wood, and it's something like in the 70s my dad seemed to go mad all over the house with chipboard. So when I first started making journals, I kept saying to my husband, please get me some chipboard, please get me some chipboard. And we were searching through the local DIY for chipboard that was thin enough, and then I realised it wasn't wood, it's extra duty heavy card. So there we go, that's my spine. My spine is, let's get back to the centimetres, 4 centimetres, which is just about 1.5 inches. So I've already measured this, the good old traditional Blue Peter way, for those of you that remember Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. Now I just use masking tape. Sometimes I use the fabric tapes. However, because I'm going to glue fabric on, I am just going to use the masking tape. Now, as you can see, I've left little spaces in between, and that is so that the book easily folds. So I will just put that on there and cut that off. And I will put a piece on this side. Oh, now this masking tape decides it doesn't want to work for me. It's so sticky. Ooh, there we go. Put a piece there. And cut that off. Let's just turn that over. This lovely picture on the front of who I believe are Peter and Janet, I have scanned into my computer because, you know, got to keep these vintage pictures going. Look at that, 15p. So at least this came out after decimalisation, which I came out myself around the time of decimalisation. I can just about remember using old money only because I can remember the big penny coins, and I can remember going into the shop with a big penny coin. Oh, that isn't my stick. Let's just cut that off. I remember going into the shop with my big penny in my hand and buying a lollipop, great big bonfire lollipop. I love the bonfire toffee lollipops made of treacle. I used to love treacle. I've been a good girl at my grand's. She used to give me a teaspoon of treacle. I loved it, still do. My daughter's just made some parking and got to wait 5 days to allow it to become sticky before we can eat it. I know, I love parking, I love bonfire, I love this time of the year. The only thing I don't like is toffee apples because I'm always frightened of what I might find in the middle when I bite through that toffee. I don't know, some sort of weird. I'm just going to put another piece on here just for some extra reinforcement. Sometimes I put a piece of tie back on there as well just for extra strength, but I don't think this is going to need it because of the fabric. Now my cat Lilith, one of my cats, we've got 4 cats at this house. My cat Lilith is just at the door here, so I am just going to let her in. I can't pull that down, I'll just cut that off. Right, so there we go. That's our journal. That's the spine, well, the start of the journal. Come on, Lilith, come in. In she comes. She's just 3 years old, Lilith, or 2, 3, and she, I think she was the runt of the litter, so she's only tiny, and she's just beautiful, but she's such a scaredy cat. Right, done. So, if I now put this on, I don't know if you can see, but you can actually see Peter and Janet through the fabric. This fabric, by the way, is what I call the underwear of the book. There's going to be so many layers. And people say to me, well, why do you spend time making things and dyeing things when you're going to cover them up with layers? But the more beautiful things you can put together, then the more beautiful your work will turn out to be. So, sorry, Peter and Janet, but I'm going to have to cover you in good old gesso. Oh, I've forgotten my mat that I put underneath things, so I'm just going to bob that piece of fabric underneath there while I paint on the gesso. So here goes. Probably need a few coats, just use an old brush for this. I will, like I said, probably need a few coats. Unfortunately, I don't know how to edit. I've only just learned how to put my video the right way up, so I do not know how to edit it yet. Let's get that a little bit more in frame there, sorry. Whoop. So editing it at the minute is a no-go. So I'm afraid you will need to hear me, listen to me drying this gesso. Whoop, it's noisy. Noisy, noisy lady. The good thing about gesso is it dries really quickly, doesn't it? This is gesso that I bought. It's by Pondmere, I think, white acrylic gesso. However, when this is used up, I'm going to make my own. I've seen so many fabulous gesso recipes. So many. Right, bear with me now. Here comes the noisy part. I promise not to be long. Nearly there. Just fast forward over that bit. That's what I do when I watch the other people's tutorials. Sorry everybody who I watch. When they're drying things. Another coat. Should be getting there. I don't need to give the spine another coat because that's not going to show through. So sorry everybody, but here we go again. Here we go again. Doesn't seem to dry as quick when you're doing a recording. Oh, just a little bit there. Oh, it's a typical autumn day today in Bolton, in Lancashire, where I live. I'm sat in our conservatory looking out at the back garden. I had a beautiful back garden. I made my garden look like I was in the woods because I love the woods. It's one of my favourite places to be. So I worked so hard on that. We've lived here 20 years, 26 years. Worked so hard on making my garden look like the woods. People used to say to me, I love coming to your house because I feel like I'm in the woods. So my husband retired this summer. Wonderful. What did he do? What was his first job? To dig up the garden. He decided he was going to landscape it. So my beautiful woodland garden is no more. So at the minute it's, well, part of it is about a quarter where he's not touched yet. And that bit is where my craft shed is going to go. I'm having a craft shed, hopefully. He's promised me. That was part of the deal for letting him dig up the garden. I think this only need one cut, this one. And the other quarter is, of less than a quarter, is lovely. It is a lovely rockery. Well, it will be when it's planted out. And then the middle is grass. And the front is just like nothing yet. Nothing yet. Done. Done. Just fold that down. Done. I do believe, ooh, a little damp bit there. Bear with me a second. Right, so my beautiful garden now looks like a horticultural come builder's yard. You can see some of my beautiful apples and crab apples and some of my other herbs and lavender and things around, but in the main it's dug up. I'll show you how pretty it looks when he's finished it though, because he promises me it will look lovely. Right, just dry the edge there. Right, so what I'm going to do next, this is the outside. I am going to glue this onto here. So I will just cut those dangly bits of thread, which I saved my dangly bits of thread as well. Just put them with in my save it pile. So now I have got for this, can't say this word, this book binders glue. I got it on eBay and it was on special offer, and it's Dana Lim, Bog Din Der Lim from Denmark. There we go. So now I'm going to glue. Oh, wrong brush. I don't want to get gesso on the glue it on with gesso. So now I'm going to start at the edge. This is so thick and dry. It does dry very quickly. The person that got me into bookbinders glue is Robin Dudley House, the Artsy Bohemian, and it is just amazing, so much better than PVA. So I'm going to just bob that on there, just slightly overlapping, because this is going to overlap. Oh, I've got the trusty old bone folder there to ensure that that is glued down. So oh, hang on, I'm going to have to pull it off because I haven't put it over enough. Need to ensure that it's over on both sides and at the bottom. Let's have a look. Just take it up a little bit to make sure I've got something to fold over. Yep, there we go. I'm going to just take it up a little bit. I meant to do this first. There we go. There we go. I'm set. I'm actually going to turn this over because I'm getting now the gold on my book off this sheet of paper. I know it's not paper, it's a fabric, but I will use it in some other grungy invention, creation of mine. So just keep putting the glue on bit by bit. It's so thick to work with, but it is so strong and tough. I defy anybody who get one of my covers off at the journal. Now as you come near the centre, you've got these two little sort of rivets, ravines here where your spine is joined. So it is important that when you put your book cover on there that you find those joints and stick down within those joints. That's, if anywhere, that's where they would, I do believe they would lift. This is dry already at this side, so at least you don't have to watch me drying. Glue. My dad always used to say, like, when things were boring, it was like watching paint dry. There's nothing more boring than watching somebody dry their own paint. Or drying your own paint. That's pretty boring too. So you do have to work pretty quick with this because it is, like I say, thick and will dry very, very quickly. At first I thought, oh, what has Miss Robin done? Wonderful Artsy Bohemian. Oh, I've got a bit of gold on there, never mind. Right. So then we just turn it over. And now we need to glue the edges. So remember to glue along this line too, because that is another area where it could lift. So I'm going to do this bit, really push that on I've only done a small centimetre or so around the edge because I don't want it too bulky and to show through too much. So that is that side. And then let's do this side. So along that edge. Still in frame. And just bring this edge down too. This is where you end up with very messy hands. Right. So then I'm going to do the bottom edges. But what I'm going to do is just cut off part of that little corner there. So you don't need it and it adds to bulk. Get my trusty glue and oh, I think I'm moving out of frame again. Go along the bottom there with my trusty bookbinder's glue and fold. Just make sure I've got some of these corners. Fold these corners up. There we go. There we are. My voice has gone quieter while I'm working. It's because of the concentration. Just fold that in a little bit and fold it up. That's a nice corner. Fold it up. There's millions of videos with people making journals. I know that. There's lots and lots and lots. This is how I'm doing this particular one. People have asked me how I do it, so that's why I've done this method before, particularly around the fabric dyeing, so I thought, well, let's show you. Let's come to this edge. I have 2 pairs of scissors the same. These are my sewing scissors, but my family started using them, going in the craft room and just using them. So now I have ribbon stitched around my fabric scissors. These are my ordinary craft scissors. So my fabric scissors are signified with these, and should my family touch these on pain of death. Pain of death. Just do these corners. Playing the screen, no I'm not. And here we go. Just along this edge, this top edge. Don't suppose it really matters which way up you have the book now. Right, I'll just fold that in a little tiny bit more. Over it goes there. A little bit more actually. Let's just get some more glue on there. So there is no right or wrong way. As long as your book's sturdy, you like it, then that is the right way for you and your journals. Oh, I've got a little bit of bulk on that corner. It's just freaking me out a bit. Right, so I'll fold this over there, pull it down, make these corners tighter. Oh, come on. There we go. Beautiful. Now then, done. Now, some people then would, oh, that needs flattening down a bit there. Some people would put paper on here. They might choose to do a floating spine, which I'll do in another journal. This one isn't a floating spine. There we go, that's great. But I am going to put my pink, pre-measured pink. I'm not going to bother too much about these torn edges. I'm now going to just glue this onto here. Using the same method. Using my book binder's glue. So I'm using there's the white dots. Shall I use that? Or shall I use the pink? I'm going to use the pink dots. So I'm going to put that on there. There we go. Oh, I must say, before you glue on, if you're going to do any stitching, that's the time to do it. Because once you're glued on, you are glued on. So stitching needs to come before that. I've chosen not to stitch this directly, but any other layers I put on, I may stitch. And it's getting those crevices again. I'm a mucky pup, me. I can't do anything. I watch these YouTube videos and there's like no mess. And I'm just messy. I'm just messy. That's all there is to it. There we go. Just pull that down a bit there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now, 5 minutes or so, that will be dry. Once it's dry, I'll just go around and check these edges. But for now, so there it is. There is the outer cover. Well, the underwear of the outer cover. And the inner cover. Just move that to one side now. I'll put it flat just to dry off. Right, so what else? I'm going to put the lid back on this because it will skin over. I used to love that when I was a little girl at school. I used to love getting glue on my hands. I used to paint PVA on purpose. How many of us done that just to peel it off and say, ooh, it's my skin. Done. Right. Oh, I've got a bit of that glue on my table. Right. So, I have pre-selected my papers for my 4 signatures here. And normally I don't use a download. I don't normally buy them. I just usually use my own papers. However, this time I have, and I've got some papers from My Porch Prints, and I've got fairy woods and shabby woods. So you will see them in this, used in this journal as we go along. So I've got 4 signatures, each with 5, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. So this is what I've done so far. So this is from My Porch Prints. So this is coffee dyed paper. This here is some eco dyed paper that I did. Look how beautiful that is. I know I feel reluctant to use them, but that's what I did them for, to be used. Here, this is gesso treated and stitched around invoice that opens up pretty huge actually. I'll show you when I get there. Some of the paper from, I'm not sure if this is fairy or shabby woods, it's one of the 2 which I will be using. This comes off here, and there's the rest of that goods invoice. I just thought the colours of it went good with the garden theme. More of the the other side of the eco-dyed paper. Coffee stained, some stamps. So I've started 2 of these. I've put some silver around the edge, some silver embossing powder. This is the Shabby Woods. And I will show you how I've done these, but these are these are by no way finished. No way at all. That's lovely. On this one, you can see I've started to decorate. Can you see the shine on it? I've put some glossy accents on and some bits of glitter and things as I start to decorate up. So this is what they look like. So I measure them, measure the papers according to the front part of the book. So I measured them, tore them. As you can see, that's been coffeed out, a tea stain actually, on the pizza tray, so you get that same dotty paper. So again, I would paint that with tea, put it on the pizza tray, bake in the oven for again about 5-10 minutes. Just keep checking. Gives a really nice effect, and you get the dark dots on one side and the white on the other. So again, using the Shabby Woods papers, some more eco-dyed paper. That was a fern, you can see the fern there. So I will be decorating all of this, which will be on a separate video. Oh, this is Fairy Woods. Look at that, beautiful colours. Some vellum, that's Shabby Woods. But I thought the 2 went together so beautiful. Look at that there, it's beautiful. 2 go together so beautifully. Right, so I'll just show you how I ink up my papers. So first of all, I use the good old Ranger tea dye. I get my trusty dabber, and on glass, I always do it on glass. I just come in and go around my paper. Just quickly around. This is just like the base coat. This is so you can, if you want to craft along with me at some point, you can get your papers ready too. That's one. These are all torn out of the torn edge pieces of paper. Just give me that shabby torn edge look. You see, I'm just very quickly going around here. Mainly it's to take off the white at the ends of the paper where you've torn. And oh, hang on, not on that one, on this one, the white bits. So then I need to do this, go around here. I know there's bits on my glass and get bits on the book, but on the pages, but for me, because it's a shabby chic book, that really doesn't matter, because I will be decorating this. And then around here, if you don't like that look, just wipe your glass with a good old baby wipe. So once I've used that one, for this book, I have used this garden part, Catherine Pooler Designs Garden Party. It's green. I use the same sponge. And I just go around then, do exactly the same, but with the green. You can make these edges as dark, as light as you want. You can come onto the paper as far as you want to give it a bit more. That's up to you. One. Ooh. Ooh. Feel like Superman speed I'm going at here. I'm on a roll. I might be stitching on some of these edges, I might not be. So rather than, because I'm not deciding at this moment in time, I just ink everything. Start to get that more of that shabby feel. I can see my apples outside looking at me. I need to go and pick them. I thought I might make some apple jam this year. So I went on TV and I thought, I could do that. My mum's been baking me some apple pies. I'm going to bake some apple crumbles. But I thought apple jam, I bet that's really nice with pork, obviously with pork, but I thought with cheese as well. So when I went to Madeira, they did all sorts of jams that they use with cheese. Lovely. Right, done. There they are. Whizzed around and done. I'll just fit together like that. Then, what I did is I got my Versamark and I put my edges down like that and swidged across, swidged across, squidged across. Then my heated up embossing silver, embossing powder, silver. This is a nice dark silver. Just pop some on there, and then I just went around the edges. If some go in between the papers, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. All adds to the overall effect and the textures. Who doesn't love texture? Right, sorry, here we go again. Trusty old heating tool. As I heat up this. There we go. So we get that lovely sort of silvery edge. You can see that there to the paper. That was how I began my signatures. So I will be decorating some more, but we will be doing it together. There's my signatures. So I've already started to make some bits and pieces to go inside. These probably won't all go inside. However, I do like have a selection of things available for me. So I made these little chipboard pieces. They do need covering on the back with some paper yet. So I painted, so they were white chipboard. I painted them with this bark effect. I've stuck some die cuts on and used some glossy accents. There's a few of those. There's another one I did. And I decorated it on top again. I need to do the back. There's glossy accents, there's mushrooms, glossy accents, and then a little die cut on top there, a little topper. I have made some little tags. This one with the feathers, reminded me of a bird of paradise. I've just come back from Peru and we went into the Amazon basin, and the birds were just beautiful. This reminds me of the bird. That's on a rusted safety pin, that little tag. I've made little envelopes ready to use, just out of scrap. Most of this on the table now is made from scraps. This is a paper clip, that can clip onto the page. So I've got an embossed fairy there on the back. On the front, a little pocket with one of these painted pieces of chipboard, white chipboard, and I've put some gesso and some inks on the back of that one. Just tucks in there. There is another tag. Again, I've used the same technique so that we get this throughout the book, some consistency. This was supposed to have been a plain book. I decided in my mind I was going to do something plain, which is not me at all. But I thought, let's go out of my comfort zone, make something plain. Is it plain? No. As you can see. So this is, when it opens up, fastens with a magnet. It's Edith Holden, and it's just a little notebook there. That just folds down and clips. It's made to either be stuck in or popped into a pocket, whichever you might decide to do. Here's a little tag that I'm working on. That's got another little notepad inside. I'm really inspired by Lorry Girl on the Ridge, because she does loads of little pockety type things. Here is another, so here's the back. This is Edith Holden again, and on the front here we've got a tag glued on, which is done in the same way that these were done, painted wood style, and then glossy accents on the embellishments. There's a little tiny envelopes there with two little tiny tags inside, and when this opens up, magnet on there again. It's another little notebook. Like I say, all these I doubt very much will be going in this journal, but at least I'll have a selection. And as I'm doing a range of Gardens of Enchantment, I'll have some of these embellishments ready for the next journal as well. So here is a little envelope on this one, and I've put a little Creativity Takes Courage, little Tim Holtz, can't remember what they call those, a little earring, just clip-on earring, vintage earring. And this opens up for another little tiny notebook. If you want me to show you how to make any of these, just put it in the comments below. And then this one, so here's another altered paper clip, Edith Holden again. This one's made with Edith Holden and paper and, what's this called, pattern paper, vintage pattern paper. And this one opens up, and there's another little notebook to use inside. So those are just a few of the things that I've made ready for in this journal. So I am not decorating it today. Oop, I have to try and remember which way things go up. I'm not decorating it today, but I will be decorating it over the coming days, and I will invite you to journal with me and decorate that. So here we go again. Here's our journal now, almost journal cover, almost dry. Our papers, which will sit nicely in there. Our signatures, which will go very, very nicely in there. 4 signatures, and once they're embellished, will just be perfect. This is just going to be the perfect size journal. and will be beautifully decorated too. Okay then, I hope you've learned something as we've gone along. Any questions, please pop them below and I will endeavour to answer them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please click subscribe, and once I get to 100 subscribers, I'll be giving a little journal away, probably one about this size. And I will also, if you don't want a journal, you could have some vintage lace. I've got a pack of vintage lace as well for my very first subscriber giveaway. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.